Yo, BJ Gaddour here. I want to revisit one of my classic mobility flows, often called the either high box table hip mobility flow or the step up mobility flow. I'm going to use a couple options here. Now, I love an aerobic set with adjustable risers, and it allows me a couple options, like the classic kind of midpoint step up, if you will, top thigh parallel to the floor. It tends to be the same height as your box squat height. And I can do some really great mobility drills that way. Obviously, if I added like 3 to 6 risers, now the leg's all the way up here. Now I'm focusing more on range of motion, getting full flexion in that hip. So I'll do that on the high table. This is also it's a massage table. It's also a stretch table. It's my work desk. The beauty of that is I can work these drills hourly, EHO, every hour on the hour style throughout my work day when I get those free moments to stay loose and really offset the damage of sitting for too long. So here's one of the first ones I love, using a stick, which allows me to get kind of that triplanar hip and spinal mobility, also that extra stability of just being active in the trunk. When I'm active in the trunk, I've got more stability in my whole body. So I've got this locked in, just here on good positions, 9-degree angles. I can work on my twists, which exhale through. Check your blind spot. Other blind spot. Bring in a side bend. Other side bend. Think about being on the wall there, so we really emphasize the bending to the side versus the turning, just kind of like you're on a wall. And then I can also do an active single leg good morning with that support. So again, using that stick, this is my tight side too. Really tough to get that hinge without rounding the upper back a little bit, but you're using that stick to kind of tension up, maintain that upper back posture. And again, I'm just doing a couple reps just to kind of show it. I can even kind of work on driving that back leg into extension. Then, exhale it up. I could tie in a active single leg RDL or hip hinge. Bring it through with a high knee drive or hip flexion. And I take a nice good, dragging right down the box. How slow can you do it? Hip flexion. And what I'll typically do on that, I could do 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes per side. Switch sides, go for 30 straight minutes. A great kind of extended mobility flow. I could do 3 to 5 reps per side. I can switch on feel, but that's just a sequence. Again, you're getting complete total body mobility, but working your step up pattern, which is gonna apply to your squat, your lunge, all that good stuff. It's also easier on the knees for a lot of people that struggle with lunges and stuff like that, or split squats. So don't overlook the benefits of it, even while I'm there, by the way. Because it's lower, I have the ability to play with a little more hip motion. So it's not just about finding the highest possible box step. It is really beneficial to have a couple box heights. A mid height, where you're doing kind of more your strong 90-90 angle step ups, and then a higher option where really the focus is more about range of motion and mobility. So let's go over here. I love bringing in the slant boards where I can, because that down leg is now going to get toe elevated. We're getting some ankle dorsiflexion, some calf stretching as well, bringing it up. And I cannot tell you, if you can just be the type of cat that finds a couple times throughout your day 3 key points to start, middle, end of day, getting a leg up as high as you can, Captain Morgan style. Captain Morgan was more about that box height. You know, he was more casual. He wasn't like, he was doing a light stretch. You know, he's not going like, now we're going max stretch. And this just allows me to really work on my hip in particular. Internal, external rotation on the hip. I can come onto the toes as well, lift the heel a bit, and really dig into those guys. Mobilize all those small toe metatarsal joints, midfoot, and coming through like that a bit. This is where it's really helpful, get an internal rotation, all while really parking in on that ankle. Now, I could make this more of an adductor and actually allow myself to get a little more ankle motion by just fanning out like this a bit and then coming like that. So you can just see, now that's just more of a toe out. You know, in the yoga, you see like a variety of these warrior lunge positions. One is the back toe straight ahead, the other is the back toes out to the side, just like this. Tough to access for bigger, tighter, older people like me, okay? So this is just a way to really open that up, and then you can get into that adductor groin area. So we know that. We also know and love turning this leg out to the side. And that's really stretching your glute, your piriformis. When this tightens, we tend to get that sciatica, that burning tingling, numbing down the leg sensations, all right? This also is critical to mobilizing to alleviate lumbar spine or lower back pain. I can use a slant board, I can just come away from it. Not everything has to involve a slant board. And with this, I just love to kind of go in and out. Exhale through it. I can do some turning, some tilting. I can also just work on isometric holds, almost kind of weighting out the tension. Think about almost like it's a pigeon plank. I'm holding it using the strength here, building that external hip rotation strength to hold it, also stretching that back leg hip flexor. So if I wanted to get more front leg emphasis, that's where I'm just trying to park more weight here. If I want to focus more back leg, I can kind of work on single leg extensions, if you will. Really trying to get the hip flexor and strengthen the quad by digging that big toe into the ground. And this is just such an important stretch to work. And again, play with the angles, try to just really open that up. And I spent 1 or 2 minutes in each of these positions. Other thing I'll show too is you can also say, I'm gonna take that slant board and I'm gonna go heel elevated top leg. So this is gonna allow me, it's actually like, I almost can't get into it, but I can, and then I just let my body really try to sink in. Look at the motion I've achieved. Look at, I mean, these are the extra inches that matter in and out of the gym, you know what I'm saying? So we're here, locked in, and now because of that heel elevation, I'm getting more motion through the knee and the hip. This is about as much flexion as we can create in these two joints. Getting comfortable in here, breathing into it, adding some rotation. I can even play with rolling out into kind of pigeon and back. So again, like there's so many ways we can access these positions. So that's critical. Now, so we've gotten hip flexor, we've gotten glute, we've gotten adductor with those slight tweaks. Got to get into that hamstring. I typically like to add even more elevation to the equation on that highest step box. Get it up there, make sure it's comfortable for that heel. And this is the one, like if you want to ever touch the toes or go palms on the floor with minimal rounding of the spine, this is how you learn how to get into that position safely. And I can spend a lot of time in here. I can do the kind of rotating side to side action here to get the inner, middle, and outer compartments of that hamstring. I can chest up and park. I can also slowly start to, and again, a little bit of spinal motion is fine, but I can try to get my trunk or my belly as close to that thigh as possible. Still adding that sweeping motion. I can start to play with some of this, toe in and out. I can grab it now and even create a little more stretch behind the knee a bit. I could even use some active tension. Pull back with the hand, push the toes out, and now I'm doing some kind of, basically like a calf raise under this stretch, which really helps clear out some neurotension and tightness in the area. And again, minimal 1 to 2 minutes in these positions. Twisting, coming out. If I really wanted to mix things up too, I could take this guy, put it here, so go active trail leg calf stretch, all right? And so now these are just like, if you're doing a lot of running, jumping, man, this is incredible. In terms of minimizing the risk of an Achilles rupture or injury, it's usually when that back foot is pushing off, that, oh, something bad can happen with a lot of stiffness, dehydration, perfect storm moment. So pre-competition, pre-walk run, pre-anything high intensity plyometric, such a great stretch to add into the equation. Pay attention to imbalance in between sides twice as often and twice as long in the tight sides. And just keep trying to get as close as you can there. And even coming up through here, you can do some active hinges. Inhale down, exhale up, and try to really push through the hip and open things up. So this is the series. You've got back pain, tight hips. This is the one I would commit to doing as much as possible. You set the clock and just flow in these positions. That's like a great off-day recovery routine. Or you say, you know what? I'm gonna just drip. Hour 1, I'm gonna hit up just the basic hip flexor each side. Hour 2, I'm gonna go pigeon. Hour 3, I'll go back to the hip flexor, but I'm gonna turn on and get more groin. Next hour, I'm gonna work on getting maybe a slant board up here to get more hip flexion and knee flexion, or I go slant board down here to get more calf stretch. Next hour, I can go into the hamstring, and then maybe I say, you know what? I'm gonna just do a little spinal mobility from this position, and just kind of work the patterns that we reviewed earlier in the video here. Coming into the hinge, You don't even have to step up, but just kind of working that, some hip flexions off that box, some internal, external, again, using the stability the stick provides. So have some fun with it. Cannot recommend this flow enough. Gait, walk, run performance, squatting, lunging, back and hip pain, also knee pain too. Don't forget, like tight hip flexors, tight glutes, tight hamstrings, you'll also run into knee pain too. So such an incredible way to fortify the lower body, get loose, get mobile, especially if you're bigger, taller. And also, you can do this off of your work desk, your table, find something at home, in the office you can do this stuff with. Goodbye.